This is the news for today, Sunday, June 23, 2024. Severe weather alert. Tornado watch for New England. The National Weather Service has issued a tornado watch for parts of Massachusetts and New Hampshire, including Worcester, Middlesex, Essex, Suffolk, Norfolk, Franklin, Hampden, Hampshire, and Berkshire counties. This watch will be in effect until 8 p.m. on Sunday. This watch covers over 8 million people and warns of the possibility of a few tornadoes, ping-pong ball-sized hail, and wind gusts of up to 70 miles per hour. Severe storms are also expected in central and northern New England between noon and 5 p.m., with southern New England experiencing these storms between 4 p.m. and 8 p.m. The Storms Prediction Center has assessed an unusually high tornado risk for the region, with a 10% risk for much of New Hampshire, central and western Massachusetts, and a 5% chance for the Boston area and Norfolk County. It is important to understand the difference between a tornado watch and a tornado warning. A watch means that conditions are favorable for a tornado to form, while a warning means that a tornado has been spotted on radar or observed on the ground. This is the news for today, Sunday, June 23, 2024. Apple and Meta join forces on AI innovation. Apple and Meta are reportedly in talks to collaborate on artificial intelligence, with the goal of integrating Meta's AI model into Apple's recently announced Apple Intelligence. The partnership would allow Apple to leverage Meta's advanced AI capabilities, while also providing Meta with access to Apple's massive distribution network. According to sources familiar with the matter, Apple has also held talks with AI startups Anthropic and Perplexity about bringing their generative AI to Apple Intelligence. The report noted that Apple has said it plans to work with partners such as OpenAI for more complex AI tasks. The partnership is seen as a strategic move by Apple to enhance its digital assistant Siri and writing tools with advanced AI capabilities. Apple's software leader Craig Federighi said that the company wanted to start with the best, and that ChatGPT represents the best choice for its users today. The report also looked at the mechanics of AI partnerships, with Gene Munster, an Apple analyst and managing partner at Deepwater Asset Management, noting that while ChatGPT usage is projected to double with the Apple partnership, OpenAI's infrastructure costs could increase by 30% to 40%. Munster also said that 10% to 20% of Apple users will choose to pay for a premium AI subscription to a product like ChatGPT, which could mean billions of dollars for AI firms that integrate with Apple Intelligence. The partnership is seen as a significant development in the AI space, with Apple and Meta looking to take advantage of each other's strengths to create a more powerful and integrated AI experience. This is the news for today, Sunday, June 23, 2024. CDK Global Cyber Hack. Impact on North American auto retail giants. Retail technology and software provider CDK Global has started the process of restoring its systems after a cyber hack, affecting over 15,000 retail locations across North America. The company expects the restoration process to take several days. CDK Global has been actively engaging with its customers and offering alternative ways to conduct business. Last week, a dealer received a letter from CDK stating that it could take several more days to fully restore the systems. Sonic Automotive and Penske Automotive, two U.S. auto retailers, reported operational disruptions due to the CDK outage. A group of hackers has claimed responsibility for the cyber attack and demanded a ransom. CDK Global has not confirmed nor denied this. This is the news for today, Sunday, June 23, 2024. Columbia University administrators suspended amid anti-Semitism allegations. 3 administrators at Columbia University have been put on administrative leave following an alleged text exchange. The exchange reportedly took place during an anti-Semitism panel and involved disparaging remarks towards participants. The administrators have not been named, but they include deans from Columbia College and the law school. The university has condemned the incident and stated that it will conduct a thorough investigation. This incident adds to a larger conversation around the rise of anti-Semitic incidents on college campuses. The Anti-Defamation League reported a significant increase in anti-Semitic incidents in U.S. colleges and universities in 2020, indicating the need for continued efforts to combat discrimination. This is the news for today, Sunday, June 23, 2024. Chicago Sky Steel victory from Indiana Fever. Angel Reese shines. Another thrilling matchup between the Chicago Sky and Indiana Fever resulted in a come-from-behind victory for the Sky. Down by 15 points in the second half, the Sky rallied to defeat the Fever 88-87. This win snapped the Fever's 4-game winning streak and propelled the Sky into the 8th and final playoff spot. Angel Reese was the standout player of the game, scoring 25 points and grabbing 16 rebounds. Her impressive performance set a new career high for scoring and made her the first rookie since Aja Wilson in 2018 to record a 25-point, 15-rebound game. Caitlin Clark also had a notable game for the Fever, with 17 points, 13 assists, and 4 steals. Her 13 assists not only set a new career high, but also a franchise record for the Fever. Camila Cardozo, the 3rd overall pick in the 2021 WNBA draft, had a breakout game with 16 points and 10 rebounds. This win for the Sky showcased the team's resilience and marked a significant moment for Angel Reese's rookie season. This is the news for today, Sunday, June 23, 2024. NASA and Boeing under fire. Starliner leaks leave astronauts stranded. NASA and Boeing managers knew their Starliner rocket had a leak before launch but believed it was too small to pose a threat, as 2 astronauts now remain stuck at the International Space Station over the issue, new reports say. Officials found a helium leak on the troubled Starliner before its launch June 5, but NASA and Boeing leaders said the rocket was good to go because the issue was supposedly too small to pose a safety threat for the spacecraft, CBS News said. Then, once in orbit, 4 more helium leaks developed, with one thruster officially deemed unusable. The return trip for astronauts Butch Wilmore and Suni Williams has now been delayed until at least July 2. Boeing has borne the brunt of the criticism over Starliner's current situation. The company is already under fire after high-profile malfunctions of its planes over the past year, with at least 20 different whistleblowers coming forward to voice concerns about safety and quality issues at the aerospace giant. This is the news for today, Sunday, June 23, 2024. Extinction Rebellion disrupts PGA Tour's Travelers Championship. Protesters disrupted play at the 18th hole of the PGA Tour's Travelers Championship in Cromwell, Connecticut. 6 demonstrators ran onto the green, leaving a powdery substance and causing a delay of several minutes. The activists, from climate activist group Extinction Rebellion, wore shirts reading "No Golf on a Dead Planet." Police quickly removed the protesters, allowing the final group, Tom Kim and Scotty Scheffler, to finish the hole in a tie and proceed to a playoff. Scheffler eventually won. The protesters were later charged with criminal mischief, criminal trespass, and breach of peace. Extinction Rebellion said the protest aimed to draw attention to the worldwide danger of climate breakdown. This is the news for today, Sunday, June 23, 2024. Extreme heatwave grips U.S. Records shattered across east and west coasts. The United States is experiencing an extreme heat wave, with temperatures soaring across the country. An expanding heat dome has put 100 million people in 27 states on alert for extremely high temperatures. The heat dome has caused temperatures to rise to record-breaking levels, with many areas experiencing temperatures above 100 degrees Fahrenheit. In the East Coast, cities such as New York City, Philadelphia, Baltimore, and Washington, D.C. are under extreme heat warnings. New York City is expected to break its daily high temperature record, which has stood for 136 years. Baltimore has already set a new daily record, reaching 101 degrees on Saturday. Out west, cities such as Los Angeles, Palm Springs, California, and Las Vegas are also experiencing extreme heat. Palm Springs is forecast to reach 111 degrees on Sunday and 112 degrees by Tuesday. Fresno, California, is forecast to reach 106 degrees on Sunday. The heat wave is expected to continue through the week, with temperatures remaining high across the country. A cold front is forecast to bring relief to the Northeast, but it could also bring severe thunderstorms and possible tornadoes. the heat wave is not only causing discomfort but also posing health risks, especially for the elderly and those with pre-existing medical conditions. The National Weather Service recommends using air conditioning and staying hydrated to avoid heat-related illnesses. This is the news for today, Sunday, June 23, 2024. USMNT kicks off Copa America 2024 with 2-0 victory over Bolivia. In the U.S. men's national team's first test at the 2024 Copa America, they secured a convincing 2-0 win over Bolivia. Christian Pulisic set the tone early in the match, scoring a sensational goal in the 3rd minute. The USMNT's performance was solid but not spectacular, with Folarin Balogun adding a second goal to seal the victory. The win was necessary for the USMNT as they looked to have a successful tournament. Despite some moments of dullness, the fans showed their support with chants of USA in the stadium. While this was a good start for the USMNT, the challenges ahead will be tougher, as Bolivia was arguably the worst team at this Copa America. Panama, a feisty CONCACAF foe, is next on Thursday in Atlanta. Then comes Uruguay in Kansas City, and then a potential quarterfinal, likely against Colombia or Brazil. That is where this chapter of the USMNT story, and perhaps of Greg Berhalter's second cycle at the team's helm, will be written. The USMNT will need to build on this win to prove their potential and secure a spot in the later stages of the tournament. This is the news for today, Sunday, June 23, 2024. FBI's $10,000 reward for New Mexico arsonists. Wildfire crisis and federal aid. A $10,000 reward is being offered by the FBI for anyone who can provide information that leads to the arrests and convictions of the person or people responsible for starting the New Mexico wildfires. The FBI is investigating the cause of the fires, which they believe may have been started by a person or group of people. 2 people have died in the fires, which destroyed about 1,400 structures and displaced more than 8,000 people. The South Fork fire burned 17,551 acres, and the Salt fire scorched 7,775 acres. The South Fork fire was 31% contained, and the Salt fire was 7% contained. Firefighters are facing difficulties due to unsafe conditions. Lawmakers have pledged federal assistance for those impacted by the wildfires, and President Joe Biden has granted a major disaster declaration for federal funds to support recovery efforts. This is the news for today, Sunday, June 23, 2024. Midwest floods and Northeast heatwave. Catastrophic weather strikes U.S. 1 million people in the upper U.S. Midwest are under flood warnings after days of heavy rain caused evacuations and rescues in several states. The worst affected areas are Iowa and South Dakota, where record-high river levels have been reached. In South Dakota, at least 1 person has died as a result of the flooding. Iowa Governor Kim Reynolds has declared a state of disaster in 21 counties, describing the floods as catastrophic. Drone footage shows homes and buildings almost completely submerged in some areas. Other states, including Nebraska, Minnesota, and Wisconsin, are also under flood warnings. In addition to the flooding, the U.S. is also experiencing a heat wave, with more than 100 million people under heat advisory alerts. The National Weather Service has now issued several different severe weather warnings and watches, with new concerns about potential tornadoes in the Northeast. The heat wave is expected to continue into early next week, with record-high temperatures likely in the mid-Atlantic region. This is the news for today, Sunday, June 23, 2024. NASA faces space debris lawsuit from Florida family. NASA is facing a lawsuit from a Florida family whose home was hit by space debris from the International Space Station. The incident occurred on March 8, when a cylindrical object weighing 1.6 pounds and measuring about 4 by 1.6 inches crashed through the roof and floor of the Otero family home in Naples, Florida. The debris was identified as a metal support structure for mounting old batteries on a cargo pallet, which was released from the space station in March 2021. NASA had expected the debris to burn up upon re-entry into Earth's atmosphere, but it somehow survived, sparking concerns about a possible increase in such incidents in the future. The family's attorney stated, that if the debris had hit a few feet in another direction, there could have been serious injury or a fatality. The Otero family is seeking compensation from NASA for various losses, including uninsured property damage, business disruption, emotional distress, and expenses related to external support services. The family's attorney, Micah Nwinworthy, emphasized the significance of the incident as a tangible illustration of the escalating concern surrounding space debris due to the heightened space activity in recent times. NASA will have 6 months to respond to the claims under the Federal Tort Claims Act. The outcome of this case could set a legal precedent for how NASA treats such incidents when they involve U.S. citizens and residents. This is the news for today. Sunday, June 23, 2024, SpaceX Falcon Heavy to launch NOAA's GOES-U satellite for weather observation. The SpaceX Falcon Heavy is set to launch from Kennedy Space Center's Pad 39A on Tuesday, carrying the NOAA's GOES-U weather satellite into orbit. This mission marks a rare sight in Florida, with 2 Falcon 9 rockets supporting the main rocket tasked with carrying the second stage and payload into space. The Falcon Heavy is needed for this launch due to the substantial payload of the GOES-U satellite, which is comparable in size to a small school bus. The NOAA GOES-U satellite will provide valuable hurricane tracking and weather observation from above. The Falcon Heavy is essentially 3 Falcon 9 rocket first stages combined to provide triple the lifting power. Each Falcon 9 rocket has 9 Merlin engines, giving the Falcon Heavy a total of 27 Merlin engines at liftoff. This power provides more than 5 million pounds of thrust in total. The rocket can lift the weight comparable to a 737 jetliner, along with all its fuel, cargo, passengers, and get that weight into orbit. The Falcon Heavy has flown altogether 9 launches, 17 booster landings, and 14 booster reflights. The first successful Falcon Heavy took to the skies in February of 2018, carrying as its payload a red Tesla Roadster, along with a mannequin dubbed Starman. This is the news for today. Sunday, June 23, 2024, Moscow-Pyongyang Pact. Global tensions and military alliances. Russia's new pact with North Korea has raised the stakes with the West over Ukraine. The agreement, signed by Russian President Vladimir Putin and North Korean leader Kim Jong-un, envisions mutual military assistance between Moscow and Pyongyang if either is attacked. Putin also announced that Russia could provide weapons to North Korea, a move that could destabilize the Korean peninsula and reverberate far beyond. This development comes as Russia faces escalating tensions with the West over Ukraine, and Putin has warned that Moscow will not back down in the conflict. The pact marks a significant strengthening of ties between Moscow and Pyongyang since the end of the Cold War, with Kim describing it as an alliance. Putin, however, was more cautious, noting that the pledge of mutual military assistance mirrored a 1961 treaty between the Soviet Union and North Korea. The agreement has raised concerns in Washington and Seoul about a potential alliance where North Korea supplies munitions to Russia in exchange for economic aid and technology transfers, bolstering Kim's nuclear and missile programs. Putin's moves have also added to concerns about the potential for arms supplies to Pyongyang, which could violate UN sanctions, while Russia and North Korea have rejected assertions by the U.S. and its allies that Pyongyang has given Moscow ballistic missiles and millions of artillery shells for use in Ukraine. Putin has warned that Russia could provide long-range weapons to others to hit Western targets in response to NATO allies, allowing Ukraine to use its allies' arms to make limited attacks inside Russian territory. The pact has also raised concerns about the potential for Russia to share weapons technologies with Pyongyang to help improve its ballistic missile capabilities. This could include sharing technologies used for space launches, which could be used to develop intercontinental ballistic missiles. Russia could also provide North Korea with critical help in areas where its capabilities are still nascent, such as submarine-launched ballistic missiles. Putin's statement that Moscow would take efforts at the world body to ease the restrictions on arms supplies to Pyongyang has been seen as a signal that Moscow may try to keep arms supplies to Pyongyang under the radar and maintain a degree of deniability to avoid accusations of breaching the sanctions. The pact has also raised concerns about the potential for a new round of confrontation between Russia and the West. Putin has warned that Moscow will not back down in the conflict, and will go to the end to achieve its goals. This has been seen as a warning to Kyiv's allies to back off and avoid escalating the situation further. The pact has also raised concerns about the potential for China to lose sway over its neighbor. China has so far avoided comment on the new pact, but many experts argue that Beijing will not like losing sway over its neighbor. Russia has come to increasingly depend on China as the main market for its energy exports and the source of high-tech technologies in the face of Western sanctions. While forging a revamped relationship with Pyongyang, the Kremlin will likely also have to tread cautiously to avoid angering Beijing. China, which has become increasingly important to Russia due to Western sanctions, is likely to closely watch as events unfold. This is the news for today, Monday the 24th of June 2024. Terror strikes in Dagestan. Churches, synagogue and police under attack. In Russia's Dagestan, gunmen attacked 2 Orthodox churches, a synagogue and a police post, resulting in the deaths of over 15 police officers and several civilians, including an Orthodox priest. 6 of the attackers were reportedly liquidated. The attacks occurred in the cities of Derbent and Makhachkala, with the synagogue in Derbent set on fire. The Russian National Anti-Terrorist Committee labeled the assaults as acts of terrorism. The region declared Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday as days of mourning. Authorities initiated a counter-terrorist operation, but conflicting reports arose regarding the number of militants involved in total. No group has as of yet claimed responsibility for the attacks. This is the news for today, Sunday, June 23, 2024. China and EU to negotiate electric car tariffs amidst trade tensions. China and the European Union (EU) are set to hold talks on electric car tariffs after both sides agreed to negotiate a planned series of import taxes. The call between top officials marks the first time the two regions have agreed to negotiate since the EU threatened China with electric vehicle (EV) tariffs of up to 38%. The EU claims Chinese EVs were unfairly subsidized, while China accuses the EU of protectionism and trade rule breaches. Both sides are expected to continue engaging in discussions in the coming weeks, but the EU remains firm in its opposition to how the Chinese EV industry is funded. China has threatened to file a lawsuit with the World Trade Organization, WTO, to protect its rights and interests. This is the news for today, Sunday, June 23, 2024. Netanyahu signals new phase in Israel-Hamas conflict. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has declared that the intensive fighting between Israel and Hamas in Gaza is close to ending. Netanyahu stated that the current phase of the conflict is coming to an end, suggesting that a new phase may soon begin. He expressed openness to a partial pause and a potential hostage deal, but emphasized that the war will not end until Hamas is destroyed. At the end of it, €2 things that need to happen. We need ongoing demilitarization by the Israeli military and the establishment of a civilian administration, Netanyahu said. He also reiterated that he now opposes the idea of re-establishing Israeli civilian settlements in Gaza, a key ambition of his far-right coalition partners. Netanyahu's remarks indicate that while the situation in Gaza may be nearing a new phase, the ultimate goal of eliminating Hamas remains for the time being. This is the news for today, Sunday, June 23, 2024. Ukrainian drone strikes in Russia. Civilians impacted, U.S.-Russian tensions rise. Russian authorities have reported 6 deaths and over 100 injuries as a result of Ukrainian drone and missile attacks. Debris from Ukrainian missiles that were shot down caused fatalities and injured civilians in Sevastopol, a port city in Russian-annexed Crimea. 1 person also died in the city of Gravoron, in Russia's Belgorod region. A forest fire and damage to a residential building were also caused by rocket fragments. Russia's defense ministry holds both Ukraine and the U.S. responsible for the attacks, claiming that U.S.-supplied missiles were used. In response, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky has called for bolstered air defenses. This is the news for today, Sunday, June 23, 2024. Tragedy at Hajj. Unauthorized pilgrims and the heat crisis in Saudi Arabia. More than 1,300 people have died during this year's Hajj pilgrimage in Saudi Arabia as a result of extreme high temperatures. The majority of the fatalities were unauthorized pilgrims who had walked long distances in soaring temperatures to perform the Hajj rituals. Saudi Health Minister Fahd bin Abdurrahman al-Jalajel announced that 95 pilgrims were being treated in hospitals, with some airlifted to the capital, Riyadh, for further treatment. The identification process has been delayed due to the lack of identification documents with many of the deceased pilgrims. The crackdown on unauthorized pilgrims led to the expulsion of tens of thousands of people, but many still managed to reach the holy sites in Mecca, mostly Egyptians who had no hotels to escape the scorching heat. Egypt has revoked the licenses of 16 travel agencies that helped unauthorized pilgrims travel to Saudi Arabia, authorities said. In a statement Saturday, Egypt's government said the travel agencies failed to provide adequate services for pilgrims, and that those agencies illegally facilitated the travel of pilgrims to Saudi Arabia using visas that don't allow holders to travel to Mecca. The government also said officials from the companies have been referred to the public prosecutor for investigation. Historically, deaths are not uncommon at the Hajj, which has seen at times over 2 million people travel to Saudi Arabia for a 5-day pilgrimage. The pilgrimage's history has also seen deadly stampedes and epidemics. However, this year's death toll at the Hajj was unusually high, suggesting exceptional circumstances. Saudi Arabia has spent billions of dollars on crowd control and safety measures for those attending the annual 5-day pilgrimage, but the sheer number of participants makes it difficult to ensure everyone's safety. This is the news for today, Sunday, June 23, 2024. Deadly methanol crisis. The tragedy of tainted liquor in Tamil Nadu. In India, deadly methanol-laced bootleg liquor has killed dozens in South India. Well-known 55-year-old Ponasamy Rajendran was a day laborer who died after consuming methanol-laced liquor produced in the Kalakarichi district. He was among 56 people who died after consuming the tainted liquor. Several regions in India have seen mass casualties due to consumption of tainted alcohol. States including Assam, Punjab, Bihar, and Tamil Nadu have reported hundreds of deaths from bootleg alcohol due to its lower cost and availability, despite prohibition laws. Producers of spurious liquor add toxic methanol to increase alcohol content inexpensively, according to a study. Methanol makes the body produce too much acid that the kidneys can't remove. It also impairs vision. The government of Tamil Nadu responded to the deaths by appointing MS Prasanth, previously an official responsible for rural development, as the new top official in Kalakarichi. Several police officers too were suspended, according to news reports. One of the first things the new district official Prasanth did was get more doctors from neighboring districts to treat the rising number of patients. Despite these efforts, a quarter of the hospitalized patients didn't survive. The Tamil Nadu government has announced compensation of $12,200 for the families of those who lost their lives in this tragedy, but there is anger that action wasn't taken sooner.